Hello everyone and welcome. I was very fortunate to get access to the World of Warships aircraft carrier beta test, which is currently on their test server. After playing a few matches at the weekend, I wanted to share with you some of the details I was able to uncover. Please remember this is a work in progress and nothing is set in stone, but my initial reaction is that it looks fantastic. You are no longer the carrier captain, but transformed to being the brave World War II pilot, flying through this stunning wall of flak to strike your target. It's really quite easy to become immersed in this very cinematic experience. I'm skirting around the edge of these enemy ships' anti-aircraft range, looking for that exposed lone target. There I had too much airspeed on my approach and was unable to get off a narrow spread. This time I've come in too steep an angle and I failed with the narrow spread again. First time was too fast, second time too steep. It's all about getting that balance right between speed and approach angle to get that perfect spread. My plane's health is dropping quite fast here, so I have a very small window to get these off. So, what's your first impression? Let me know in the comments. Share it with your clanmates and friends who play carriers, so we can generate some feedback here. I drop immediately here, and indeed, third time lucky, so they say. I'm uploading World of Warships content regularly now to YouTube, so if you want to keep in touch, just follow the on-screen instructions. Just before we start with the actual gameplay footage, I want you to see I'm using an unskilled captain here. So let's quickly go through the proposed changes to the skill tree. So I will just highlight the skills that can enhance a carrier's performance, so you can stop and read them at your own pleasure. I'm making the assumption here that Wargaming just wants all the testers on an equal footing for this initial stage of testing, and we will be allowed to test the actual captain skills in future testing rounds. As you can see, I'm using the Japanese carrier Ryujo exclusively for the purpose of this video. Is there anything in particular you would like to see in future tests with the other carrier available for testing? The Ranger, the Midway and the Hakuryu. Is there any particular change that stands out to you here? Please let me know in the comments what you think of these proposed changes. I'm going to break this video down into 3 groups, basically starting with the torpedo bombers, followed by the rocket planes, before finishing up with the armor-piercing dive bombers. The Japanese CVs have access to deep-water torpedoes, which will be your primary method of crippling and eliminating battleships from the enemy team. I just popped my fighter consumable there, which will call in friendly fighters to my position as I see enemy dive bombers incoming towards my friendly battleship below. All the while I've had my eye on this Fuso behind the island and am manoeuvring into position when I discover my planes go undetected after losing line of sight behind the island. My mind starts racing here, as this could possibly be a huge change indeed, opening a whole range of tactics and possibilities. I overestimate the Fuso speed here and fail to land both torps, so I turn away. And despite being the slowest of all the attack groups, these torpedo planes feel quite good making these turns, although I would advise not boosting while doing so. Time for a second run here, although my angle of attack isn't ideal here, and I seem to be taking more AA damage. Enemy Fuso is slowing again and turning, and once again manages to avoid one, although I did manage to take out the steering gears this time, which should ensure the next run should be a sure thing. I'm moving in now for the final attack run with this group, hoping to get these torps dropped before my planes die, as their health is now approaching critically low levels. You can see the plane's health number on the bottom center of the screen, right above the consumables. Fortunately, I'm able to get both torps on target before my planes die. So, after getting 4 torp hits, knocking out his steering gears and causing a flooding, I did notice he was taking no flooding damage. He either instantly repaired or his repair was active as I caused that flooding. And now I want to share with you in real time just how quickly you can get back into the action to attack a target that you know is vulnerable due to repair cooldown. I can see he's already on fire. Come in to strike. I get 7 rocket hits there, but they all hit the section that is currently burning. So I boost away and turn. Come in for a second run. Try and hit the stern area of a ship. And just as I'm about to strike, I see the fires go out and I get a fire. After discovering, almost by accident, the ability of your planes to go undetected, I went about looking for opportunities to launch stealth attacks. Starting my attack run here out of stealth, my planes literally get detected as they hit sea level, and I'm able to come in here and line up a full speed attack on this battleship, and he literally has no time to react to this attack. Managed to strike him twice, taking out his engine. So his engine is out, he's on fire. He's under attack from my friendly ships. So there's no need to even attack him here as he goes down. And my planes get undetected again. So I'm free to launch another assault. I see a cruiser behind this island. I drop down again from stealth. And I left it just a little bit late there as I got detected a bit earlier. And I'm able to move into position, although this cruiser is maneuvering away from me. I can see he is broadside to my fleet, so I'm going to drop behind him and trap him in that position. The anti-aircraft fire is really quite intense here, as I'm in the combined range of quite a few enemy ships, and my planes are melting really fast now. I'm going to have to attack something really quickly here to have any chance of landing anything. You know the fire is really intense when you get screen shake, but to no avail. The IJN CVs only have access to the deep water torpedoes at the moment, so you will be unable to hit destroyers, even when you are faced with that juicy target sitting in a smoke screen. And those that know me will admit to me being quite stubborn. I just can't resist just trying just to make sure. While approaching this lone enemy battleship, I noticed all my friendly carriers' planes being totally shredded and all falling into the ocean. I go in and attack myself. Getting some solid hits, knocking out his engine in the process. And as I'm turning away to get into position for a second strike, my planes start taking a real beating. I'm thinking to myself, this is pretty insane, as I'm currently training the Fuso on the live server, and I know its AA isn't one of its strong points. I was beginning to notice a trend here, as in previous games, my squadrons had totally melted in certain situations I had thought would have been favourable to dropping, but had just put it down to RNG being against me in those moments. I started asking questions in the chat if there were some changes to the anti-aircraft I wasn't aware of. And most of the other testers at the time seemed to be all Russians, but finally a nice guy answered with, "Press O on carrier for boost." After realizing one could simply click O and select whichever side of the ship you wanted to strengthen your AA on, not only for carriers but for all ships, needing a short time for activation, the mist had lifted and it all became clear. So now we come to the rocket bombers, or more like fighters with rockets, because that's what they seem like. Very fast, very maneuverable, giving you the option of getting in fast, delivering your payload, and getting out just as fast to line up another attack. I can easily imagine good CB captains, those ones that use their fighters in early game scenarios to spot the enemy destroyers, absolutely loving these planes. Not only can you get in fast and spot the enemy, but you can really harass them, driving them out of cap zones, breaking modules, setting fires, forcing them to smoke up, giving your own destroyers a huge advantage. Being an avid DD player myself, I can visualize these rocket planes being a real nightmare to deal with. While the controls seem a little twitchy at the start, it soon becomes quite intuitive and easy to control, and I almost begin to feel sorry for the poor souls below me as I rain down rockets around their ears continuously. One can only imagine the terror those poor sailors endured on both sides when faced with such threats from the skies. Due to the great speed and maneuverability of these, I'm just going to call them rocket fighters, because for all intents and purposes that's what they are. You can maintain this deadly presence on the battlefield, develop a solid situational awareness, learning to avoid the enemy's AA, and of course assuming this enemy CV doesn't send fighters in, allowing you to harass and help finish off those already in dire straits. Not only can you harass destroyers continuously, you have this great speed, allowing you to prey on targets of opportunity. I spot an enemy cruiser on low health, being attacked by my friendly carrier's torpedo planes. I overestimate his speed on my first run. Some great torpedo beats there on his part, but my rockets quickly bring about his demise. Finally, we come to the Japanese Navy's dive bombers. In contrast to the US Ranger of the same tier, which utilizes high incendiary bombs, the Ryujo packs the formidable punch of having armor-piercing bombs. I wanted to include this first clip because I may have inadvertently discovered a bug. While still early on, wrestling with the controls, I misclicked here, going into a dive bomb animation here by accident. But in the process, seemingly mitigated all the AA damage from the nearby battleship. To truly add insult to his injury, I proceeded to bomb him out of the game in the next attack. I really enjoyed the quite visceral experience involved in the dive bombing runs. It really gave me the sensation of being so close to the action. And all of those of you who love World of Warships will know exactly what I mean when I say there is nothing like the satisfaction of landing those juicy citadel hits on your enemy target. Whether it be cruiser or battleship, simply the knowledge of you knowing you landed those critical hits to your opponent is one of the high points of any game. I've got a great angle to come in on this Fuso here. I'm going to try and hit his smokestacks. I just under-aimed and managed to penetrate one of his rear gun turrets. My planes are taking so much damage here now, I'll be very lucky to get off a third strike. The dive bombers sit in the middle regarding speed and maneuverability, and excel in offering that close support strike role. Using their speed boost, one can quickly fly through the defensive anti-aircraft fire, but it isn't always those juicy citadel hits. there will still be times where you think you've carried out the perfect drop, only to be foiled by the RNG gods. Combine that with the fact that when under pressure, rushing or making the slightest misjudgments in speed and angle can lead to attacks you can't correct in time to land those hits. After playing 5 games now in the IJN carrier, I think I've had more consistent success with the dive bombers, attacking from either the stern or the bow. Attacks across midships seem to be consistently disappointing, although this could be purely down to anti-aircraft reinforcement and RNG just simply being against me. I can't overstate how much fun I've had with these dive bombers so far. What do you think yourself? After seeing all 3 classes of attack aircraft now in action, which do you think will be your favourite and why? Please feel free to let me know in the comments, as it all helps me build a better picture and provide better feedback to wargaming during this testing process. I'm turning away quickly here, trying to preserve my plane's health points, hoping to have enough to carry out this group's final attack. This is a recurring theme which you will often find repeated, but can be rewarded by that awesome double citadel feeling. For me personally, knowing if a ship is a keeper or not is firstly the fun factor, and secondly, what is my ability to be able to influence the outcome of a game, even under dire circumstances? How empowered do I feel in this ship? The answer I feel at the moment is I feel incredibly empowered. I'm quite sure a lot of balancing will take place in the future, as this carrier beta is very much a work in progress. So I'm not going to dwell on any issues I sense about these ships feeling very overpowered. I'm going to remain positive and be as constructive as possible during this testing process. What is your impression after watching all 3 classes of attack aircraft now in action? Too strong? Too weak? Let me know in the comments what you think about these carriers. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and thanks very much for watching. I'm uploading World of Warships content regularly now to YouTube, so if you want to keep in touch, just follow the on-screen instructions.